Chapter 3, Revelations. Dogan Ronda. It had been days since I arrived at Niveden, and I still felt like I didn't belong here. I stopped in front of the tree house where the chief hunter resided and looked up. It was a rather short climb given my height. I wondered if it was all right to climb up without notifying the Nivens. The tree had many branches. The gaps between them were narrow, so in a few seconds, I was able to climb it. I soon found myself standing outside the door, which was left ajar. I peeked inside, and nobody seemed to be around. But who's to say that there was no one inside, knowing that the Nivens were most comfortable when invisible? "Andoni?" I said. Nobody answered. "Andoni," I called louder this time. It was Pyper who magically appeared in front of me. "Hey, little one. Where's your father?" I asked. "I don't know. Mother said he was out there checking out the rebellions," the little Niven replied. Pyper grabbed my hand. "Eat with us. Mother's inside," she said. The kitchen smelled of beef stew and freshly baked beans. It would be wonderful to join someone for dinner. "Mistress Laren," I said when the lady continued moving about in the kitchen, not sensing my presence. The plump lady with golden hair like Pyper's looked at me. For a while, her eyes narrowed before it registered to her who I was. "Dogan," she said. "Join us." "Thank you. I would like a word with the chief hunter. Do you know when he is coming back?" I asked. Mistress Laren returned to her cooking. "It could be a while. I don't know for certain." Pyper grabbed a seat in front of me. "Eat with us," she said. I sat down and waited for Mistress Laren to join us. When she was seated, I said, "The chief hunter asked me to retrieve Pyper." Pyper blushed as she handed me the bowl of stew. "I am grateful, Dogan." "I truly am," Laren said. This time, I felt myself blushing. It was nothing. I was out to search for Kino, too. "Pyper told me about it," Laren interrupted. "What are your plans now?" "I must go and find him. I don't know where to begin, but staying here would be futile for me," I said. "I have to rescue the boy." "We could have been together if you had not interfered," Pyper said. "Pyper. Show some gratitude," Laren said. "If it weren't for Dogan, I would have died worrying about you. Do you want that?" Pyper shook her head, her lips trembling. "Maybe what she said is true," I said, chewing on the beef. "I don't know." "Come with me. We'll rescue Kino," Pyper said. I almost burst out laughing. "It looks as though you will have to put a chain on your daughter to keep her in one place," I said. "You will stay here. There will be none of your adventures again," Mistress Laren said, her voice firm. "The world is changing, and I can't let you out there alone." I glanced at Pyper. She lowered her gaze and started on the stew. "Can you give me a specific day when the chief hunter will return?" "I must leave soon," I said. "Nobody knows. You should leave if you must," she said. "Mother!" Pyper gasped. I froze. I finished the food and, without another word, stood up. "Thank you for the meal, Mistress Laren. Send my regards to Master Andoni. Tell him I have fulfilled my end of the bargain," I said, standing from the seat. "Now, I hope he will also consider coming to my aid when I need him." Mistress Laren stood up. She seemed embarrassed, but she did not say anything. Her eyes had gone glassy. Her mouth opened slightly, but she closed it again without saying another word. I took it as my permission to leave. I turned for the door and started walking away. "In case it is you who came across him," Mistress Laren said, "tell him he is sorely missed." For some reason, her voice broke, and I realized how much she could indeed be missing her husband. Ran and Ames had been spending a lot of time with their families. Perhaps the thought that they could have been the ones slain in Sinista and that life could end so easily made them more appreciative of the families waiting for them. I tried to talk to them, but it was as though they were avoiding me. My knowledge of Nivens was shallow, Yet I was never one to label them as cowardly. For whatever reason, they were avoiding me. It could not have been because they didn't want to join me in searching for Kino. Or could it be that? If no other Niven went with me, it would not stop me from going. Although having a Niven with me, even just one, would prove to be useful. Mistress Laren had been cold towards me, and I found it quite unnerving. Nivens were hospitable, and since I was the one who rescued Mistress Laren's daughter, she should have shown a more welcoming attitude towards me. And yet, she acted oddly. I heard footsteps coming in. I stood up, waiting to see who it could be. A pretty little face appeared in thin air a few paces away from me. "Dogan?" she said. Only Pyper's face showed. "Yes," I said, still amazed at how Nivens played with their powers. Pyper looked around her before making her head invisible. "What are you doing?" "Show yourself," I said. Elder Man promised to help. He said he would ask his friends to look for Kino. When he hears anything about his whereabouts, he promises to tell me, she said. Then, we would go and rescue him. "Didn't you just promise your mother you won't go running away again?" "That's the difficult part," she said. "How can I ask her to release me of that promise?" I shook my head, controlling my laughter. "I can do the search for Kino alone," I said. "Well, if Manny Ran and Ames were with me, that would be best, but I don't think I would welcome you on my journey." Pyper appeared right in front of me. "That is just unfair," she said. "I can run faster without a child trailing after me," I said. "But I can turn invisible." "And when you're tired, what would you have me do?" I said. "Carry you?" Pyper glared at me. I was tired. "I'm sorry I made you carry me." I chortled, "It's all right. But I think once Elder Man shared the information with me, I will be able to rescue Kino by myself." "Then, I'm not sharing the information with you," she said stubbornly. "But he's your friend. If you can't go, and you won't share his whereabouts, who will rescue him?" I said. Pyper sighed. "Maybe Elder Man would go alone," she said. "Don't bother the elder," I said. "He has more on his head than the boy's rescue." "Contrary to what you're thinking," a voice from where Pyper came from said, "there's nothing on my head but the boy's rescue." From the darkness, the frail frame of Elder Man emerged. "Are you eavesdropping on us?" I asked. Elder Man didn't flinch. "The boy is important," he said, not answering my question. "I have to do what I must." "Will you go with me?" I said. "I will rescue the boy. Your power will be of great help. There are things in Nivedon that I need to settle first. However, I wouldn't miss the chance to meet the boy again. I know some information, but not enough for me to find out the reason why the Emperor wanted him dead so badly." I stared at him and wondered if I should share what I knew. "Are you certain it is the boy and not the mother the Emperor wanted?" I asked. Elder Man grabbed the nearest chair and made himself comfortable. "What do you know?" he asked. I studied the old man. Pyper was watching us. "He can be trusted," she said. Elder Man chuckled. "How can you say such a thing?" He told Pyper. "Times are dangerous. It is not right to put your trust in someone so easily." "Then, why should I tell you what I know?" I asked the elder. "Information in exchange for information," he said. "You know something. I know some, too. A fair trade, wouldn't you say?" The elder knew how to bargain indeed. "The mother was dead," I said. "That is until I saw her in Sinista." "Lamare Amark, the royal scribe?" he said. I nodded. "She died months ago, and I was the one who buried her. It couldn't be my imagination that I found her in Sinista doing the thing I least expected her to see doing, fighting." Elder Man straightened his seating. "Then, there is hope. I believe she is the one who can shed some light on what happened in the festival," he said. "Nobody knows where she is now." "Or what happened to her," I said. "But if she lived when you thought her to be dead, Isn't that a good indication that the chances of her being alive are high? Pyper said. I had forgotten that she was here with us. It was a good point, but I didn't want to plan my next action based on false expectations. I scratched my chin. The stubbles have grown longer already. There are some things I know about the royal scribe, I began. It had something to do with the scrolls she gave the emperor every fortnight. Her exact words were that she had to claim back what was not hers to give away. Another riddle, the elder said. As though the puzzles surrounding the festival weren't enough already. Although, resolving the issues about the festival could probably give us more answers. I have a hunch of what she was referring to, I said, not knowing if it was all right to share that much. The elder stared at me, waiting. The boy had no power before the festival, I said. And Kino has power now. Pyper cried out. We looked at her. When did it manifest? I asked. Right after the festival, she said breathlessly. My heart hammered, although I wasn't that surprised. I still remember Lamare telling me that she was ready. That gives us a clue, but it does not solve everything, Elder Mayan said. Why is that something that would shake the Emperor, if that really is the reason? I met Elder Mayan's gaze, but I did not know what to say. If Lamare's power were to right, and she said she was ready. And she said that she had to give back something that wasn't even hers to take, Pyper said, mulling things over. Maybe it was Kino's power she was talking about. But what does writing have to do with Kino's power? Elder Mayan said. It all came back to me. What Lamare wrote about Dirella and the flooding and how these all came true. I felt weak and grabbed the nearest chair. Lamare could prophesy, I said. Pyper did not say anything, nor did Elder Mayan. The two of them were shocked by the revelation. And whatever she wrote came true, I continued.